Good morning, ladies and teenage girls. Welcome to 7Impacts. It's been a busy weekend for all of us. Norm, how was yours?
Well, I was watering my plants, went food shopping, and spent thousands of euros on cooking oil due to the current inflation. I also meditated to fight my depression. You know?
Oh, okay. Sucks to be you. I don't think the Japanese had such a boring weekend. As a matter of fact, I did some researching. Shall we talk about it for a couple of minutes?
Yes. Yes, please.
Alright, Norm. I have read a couple of stories about the current zeitgeist in Japan. You know, some people on this beautiful island have said that if there was a new earthquake happening close to Fukushima, then they really would have an issue with nature and probably would fish whales with 3 eyes and 2 penises in the future.
I don't want to get in trouble with Greenpeace or the regular folk in Japan, but I would enjoy to see whales with 2 penises, I must say. There is not much fun going on in the world right now with all the war and stuff, but 2 penises on a whale would put a smile on my face.
I like the way you talk about Japanese fish, Norm. I have another animal story for you if you want to. There are 2 pandas in the zoo of Tokyo, and they're going to celebrate their first year on the 20th of June. It's twins. 2 pandas in Tokyo will have the time of their life.
Why are you telling me this? Just because I like whales doesn't mean I have something going on for baby pandas. I would say just throw them into the ocean and feed them to killer whales.
Well, then I have a corona story for you. Nobody was allowed to visit Japan for the last 2 years. But they are opening up for small tourist groups again. And as you might expect it, those virus-invested foreigners really brought in the coronavirus again. It says 3 tourists got tested positive. They actually wanted to open up for mass tourism this summer again, but after this horrific story, I think they might use robots as tourists in Japan in the near future.
Maybe they get the next death penalty.
Yes, maybe. But they probably just send them back to where the heck they came from and talk bad about those foreign people while they're listening to one of their colleagues at the karaoke bar and enjoying an octopus with soy sauce. And before you know it, they take a ride back home in one of their very clean trains and do it all again next day.
Well, they might do that, but let's talk about the people who are watching this. This is now a guy who's researching 7 regions in the world. The first one is Japan, and sometimes you get some information out of him, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's just stupid. Give him a chance. He's trying hard. So far, I got to know something, but I still think I'm wasting my time. Let's have a look what he's up for now. I guess he's looking into the UK. Is he?
Yeah. And we're going to the UK, the United Kingdom. Let's talk about the land where nobody is your friend. God save the very old Queen. Football fans from Liverpool didn't make it to the school and not into the stadium in Paris. Yeah! England! Okay. Thank you, England. So you English people still complain about not getting into the stadium in Paris. And I know some of you had tickets.
Some of you had faked tickets, and a couple of you drunks were jumping over the fence and actually made it to watch Klopp's team losing to a very, very old Madrid football team. I think the youngest Madrid player just retired from his 50-year career in the business of cooking paella for tourists and selling it for a ridiculously amount of money because they are so stupid to pay basically everything once they are on vacation.
That's racist towards the people who aren't
I
Spanish.
disagree. Let's talk more about the UK and what happened there lately. The monkeypox are about to kill many of us, and I read quite a lot about it in the British news. There's an article from a monkeypox expert, that's not a joke, and he or she tells you 13 things you should know about the disease. 13 things you should know about the disease in the UK. I haven't read the article. Here in Germany, they tell you one thing about the monkeypox, and you should know one thing only. If you see a guy who looks like the Elephant Man, do not try to flirt with him, because he might trick you with his charm, and after a couple of drinks, you enjoy rough, unprotected monkey sex with the Elephant Man, and then the next day your wife will see you turning into a monster who looks like something between the face from Heidi's ex-boyfriend Seal and Jeffrey Epstein Island after 1 year without a gardener. So, very, very messy.
That was an unnecessary and very
Thank you,
stupid
Norm.
joke.
How's your coffee?
It's very tasty. It's from Ethiopia. It's fair trade and extremely expensive.
Alright. So we are going to China now. And here we are in China. In China, it doesn't matter how many newspapers you read. The Communist Party is always right. I'm personally a big fan of the party. The party is great, never wrong, they are smart and have the knowledge of how to treat people in a very respectful way if they aren't Chinese, and live on the main island. Every person who lives on an island 1 hour away from mainland China needs to get the monkeypox, because they deserve it and should be locked up in an educational camp for receiving the best education the Chinese government can supply. And they can supply a great education. Many people say Taiwan is an independent island. I disagree. I think the people there are as independent as the monkeypox could survive without some people who like to dance in the darkroom with other good-looking males. I personally have danced in Taichung, and I also have danced in a darkroom full of good-looking males, and I never thought at any moment that the Communist Party in China is wrong about anything. I even agree with the party that curly hair is no good. Curly hair is very, very, very bad. I'm very pleased to read about the great corona restrictions in Shanghai and Beijing, and it has been successful. And the working people in both cities are able to work for the greater good of the upcoming empire. Again, the port in Shanghai exports great products like cars and other important things to the world, so every person on the planet can enjoy a piece of the great Chinese production process. The Muslim minority in China as well, and in good faith, and as I read, very pleased about everything. Sometimes they are doing a little dance on the streets to get recorded by the officials with their cameras at every corner, so the dance moves will be seen by everybody and lighten up the day for the hard-working people of China. Also, the foreign minister of China is currently in Fiji. Both nations will work closer together, the sun is shining, the weather is great, and everybody is very, very happy.
That's how people find out that you are not only German, but East German.
Are we going to talk about another country, please? I don't know. We're moving to. I think you wanted to go to Australia, New Zealand. Let's do that. What's up over there? Here we are, land down under. Australia and New Zealand. Two countries where basically nothing happens. Ever. Except for drinking, fishing, street fights, hot weather, and tourists getting eaten by saltwater crocodiles. That's not 100% right. Sometimes there's a flooding, and then a half a year later, a huge fire burns down the koala from the
Last week,
bushes.
the Australians had their elections, where the Conservatives lost and the Social Democrats won. To celebrate, whole Australia got drunk. Some Irish backpackers slept on the beach and got the sunburn of their life. And an Aboriginal family had family problems and solved it with the old good fashioned native fistfight. You think he's only pulling out stupid stereotypes, but that's actually what I read on the news. In my favorite small city, Townsville, Queensland, a guy got stabbed near the public pool. Seriously, I was there years ago. I know how much fun it is to be there. You swim a little bit for a couple of minutes, you walk down the esplanade and getting stabbed with a knife by a drunken Aussie who worked part-time as a landscaper and part-time as a drunk pool stabber. Usually Townsville is all about fishing, sports and drinking, but yesterday they had some cars crashing into each other. That's the news over there. I'm serious. They don't care about Putin, the Ukraine, or the inflation. They just want a Scott Morrison out of politics so they can watch the weather forecast and talk about how rainy it is at the East Coast currently. Should we talk about New Zealand too? Sure. Have you checked anything about New Zealand lately? No? Well, I guess then I'll tell you a very little story. Nothing happened, but it's raining and some people will get evacuated somewhere in Rotorua. You don't know where Rotorua is? That's where all the little tiny volcanoes are. It's pretty over there. Seriously, you people over there should be very happy that you live in such a boring country where nothing happens. It's way better than mass shootings, war, being poor, and complaining about everything. Just do what you do and live your life. I'm serious. Let's go to the next country. Next one is Germany. Deutschland. The land occupied by people who only talk about politics, work, and how much better they are now compared to times 80 years ago. Some robots who think they should dress up like Americans and watch Netflix but still are as boring as always. The country where I live, the country where people talk for the last 3 months only about Putin and the war, inflation, how much, it's gonna cost so much more, and how great wind and solar energy is, even if we pay more than anyone on this planet for energy. What happened here, you might ask? Well, summer is nearby, so the people complain about the warm weather. Almost every single city is looking for spaces where they can put some tiny houses on, because that's trendy now. And because of the coronavirus, everyone bought a camper and is now planning a trip to South Europe to get drunk on red wine in France, in Italy, in Portugal, in Croatia. They're planning. They love to plan the next trip.
Tesla is building a Tesla factory close to Berlin. I'm not quite sure whether you heard that, but it's on the news now for the last year. And you guessed it, the people over there are complaining about how much trees got chopped up. In June, which is in a couple of days, we in Germany can buy a ticket for 9 euros. And with that ticket, we can use the public transportation for a whole month, everywhere in that country. We can use buses and trains going from A to B. But instead of traveling and enjoying that gift, we are angry because we think the trains and buses will be way too full. So it is as always in this cold-hearted country. If you don't work, you pack your shit and you go on vacation far, far, far away from home. We hope Putin doesn't drop a bomb on us. Until that happens, we just eat bratwurst and drink beer while sitting at the nude beach and watch old grandmas taking a bath as they used to do in the 1950s when their skin didn't look like Donald Trump's double chin.
That was so negative, man. It was embarrassing.
Or tell Putin where you live, man. Next country. In Russia, they call war a military operation. The operation is not going as expected, but they're still fighting for good reasons. That's what they say. The ruble is up, the oil and gas is more expensive than ever. Erdogan, the Turkish guy, is negotiating with NATO whether Finland and Sweden can get into the NATO. And Putin enjoying springtime in Moscow. To be honest, let's put the war aside. We all made up our mind. So I have a look at what else has happened in the greatest country, the world. I looked it up and I really haven't found much interesting stuff. The interest rate for banks are now on 11%. The ruble, as I said, is worth quite as much as it was before the war started, and people still like to drink vodka. The third world could get in trouble in the near future because wheat won't get exported from the Ukraine and Russia. That's, by the way, a serious and very unfunny issue. Where that ends, well, we will see. Norm, have you been to Russia? Have you got any interesting story to tell about Russia?
When I was 17, I went with friends to Bulgaria and enjoyed 2 weeks of vacation. Our neighbors was Russian, and one of them had...
Thank you. What a great story. Well, we have a minute to kill. Shall we be silent and think about better times? And when we switch to the last
Ja, sehr gern.
country,
Sehr gern.
the US, shall we do that?
Ja, sehr gern. But I wanted to finish my story, which was the Russian guy who was on vacation with us. He had 6 toes, which is one more than a normal person has. Alright, let's just go to the US. Please do not talk about the shootings all the time. We all know it's gonna be the story, but please talk about something else. Danke. Hello? Hello? Norm? Are you there? Shall we stop? What's going on? Well, it happens sometimes, not too often. But I guess we start now. Ooh.
You know what the good thing about the US is? It's never boring here. Shootings, an old man leading the country, party in Miami, fentanyl at any corner, some sports, good food, and the Hunter Biden story is picking up again, which is still not that
entertaining as, the Amber Heard and the Caribbean guy story. That's fun. I'm not that much into pop culture because here at Europe we don't have any interesting people and celebrities at all. But you Americans really can enjoy some stories about movie stars shitting in their own bed, and a black musician who is jealous of an SNL star who sleeps with his ex-girlfriend. We don't have that at all here. We all know that it could end in a suicide murder case, and we would love to talk about it. The SNL guy getting, you know what I mean. And at the same time, we had the Texas thing happening, and some of us are still very sad about that. I also enjoy the media, which wants to talk about the cops who just didn't want to get killed and waited a bit too long. Some of them probably just didn't care about the whole event because it happens all the time. So why should you risk your own life? It happened yesterday and it will happen next week. I wouldn't have gone in. Anyways, you Americans suffer from inflation too. You're not as scared of war with Russia as we are. But who cares? Twitter is not owned by Elon Musk yet, which is okay, I guess. Seriously, go and take a vacation. I know you only have 8 days, so you better don't spend it with some fat mummies at Disneyland or in a public park nearby barbecuing. Just get in a car and drive somewhere where it's quiet. Get off the internet. That's 100% what I'm going to do in a month or so. I wish all of you a great week. I see you soon. Stay alive. Please be nice to each other. Life is short. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. It was the first show. Second one is coming up in 2 days. I think we're improving. And stuff is coming up. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.